we're just going to get straight to it and turn both of these two babies inside out, because we all know the most interesting parts of the garments that we sew are the insides. What do the guts look like? I thought it would be really interesting to take a look at two garments, the same garment, one that is just sewn with okay finishes and one that is sewn with really great finishes, and what that actually looks like side by side, so you can decide if if it's something that you might want to consider for your next garments as well. My sewing friends of old, welcome to this video, because I think this is going to be really fun. This video was sparked by the idea actually in the comments one time where someone mentioned, why not do a video on good or bad finishes and what they look like? Because obviously, as a beginner, you don't really see these things and you don't know what good looks like, what bad looks like, what okay looks like. Why would I even want to spend the extra time doing these said great finishes, right? I know these are the kinds of questions you have, you might have, because I used to have these too. And it was really helpful for me to see different levels of like the same thing, but made at different levels, like skill levels. Something really simple can be made so beautiful and so amazing with just better finishes, better fabric. These types of things are what really upgrade our garment making, our end result. And it's all about the end result that we want. You know, you want something that you put on and you think, oh, this is so special, and you feel amazing in it because you know it looks good, it feels good, and you know the insides look good too, because you're here because you like to know that the insides look good too. And it all comes down to the finishes. So first of all, what do we mean by finishes? Finishes are everything beyond the main construction, the main shell of the garment. So you know that really fast bit where you have the side seams done, you know, shoulder seams done, you've kind of got the shell of the garment and you're thinking, woohoo, that went so quick. It's going to be great. This is going fantastic. And then you have basically everything beyond that point is the finishes. And it takes at least 5 times as long as it did to create that shell. I know what you know. You know what I mean. Anything beyond that. So we're talking finishing the neckline, finishing your armholes, hems, sleeve finishes, seam finishes. These are all the things that we're talking about that make the big difference in just an okay garment and a great garment. And I want you to have great garments. And so let's do a side by side, same design. This one does have a button extension. Where is it? This way. It's just pinned down at the moment. No buttons as yet. That is not finished. I know, sorry. But button extension, obviously a different collar shape, but that doesn't really matter. But otherwise they're the same garment, but they have incredibly different finishes. This one is just finished with okay finishes. Like, it looks fine. It's neat and tidy, and it's probably the kind of seam finishes that your regular sewing in pattern instruction, you know, when you paper pattern would tell you to do. Sort of simple, easy, okay seam finishes. This one, however, is the one that I finished with my, well, it's my own pattern, but my own version, my upgraded finishes on this one, because I wanted it to be really good and really luxe and really high end and just something I don't want to take off because it feels so good, and I definitely achieved that with this. But okay, let's just turn these inside out and get to the inside part. Now, of course, before we get to here, there's minimal, I guess, noticeability on the outside besides invisible hand stitching and visible machine stitching that gives a different look and feel, but generally most of the things are on the inside, so that's why we've cut straight here. And the first one is the most obvious. Let's look at the seam finishes, because this is one thing that we all can choose very quickly in our sewing, and you can choose a different seam finish very soon in your sewing journey. And I've made many videos on different types of seam finishes that you can choose, of course, so I'll link those all down below. What we have with our okay seam finish here, I've simply overlocked it open and pressed it neatly. It looks nice, neat and tidy, and it looks okay. On my really great seam finish over here, what I've done is, this is a little bit of a unique design in that the shape of this is actually quite straight through here. And so the seam finish just kind of blends into the armhole hem as well. And so what I decided to do is to actually hand fell it over, sort of kind of like felled open, I suppose, which then just blends into the seam finish and it's just like a little hem finish, which looks amazing on the inside. It looks beautiful. It keeps in with this fabric, is nice and soft. The hand sewing really leans towards that nice, soft, beautiful feeling. And then side by side, of course, you can see this one is okay, but this one is really great. And so a seam finish choice is one easy choice. You can start doing this yourself really, really quickly. As I said, just because it says, like, it'll just say finish your seams, right, on the pattern. So that means choose something amazing that might be more suitable to your fabric or the design or just something that you like the look of really well. It can make such a big difference as it does here. Let's look at our neckline finishes here. So I've got the backs of these. Now let's first of all have a look at the OK finish here. Regular facing. What I finished with this one is I overlocked it and then I turned it over and stitched. So this is really quite, pretty. You can just overlock it, but I went to the extra effort to turn it over as well and stitch it, and it looks okay. It looks totally fine, right? Nothing wrong with this. And this is generally what you'll be told to do in many pattern instructions. But what I decided to upgrade to on my great finish over here, and you can see side by side, is I did a facing, but what I did is I actually cut it down shorter. I didn't want a bias facing because it wasn't going to be big enough to support the collar. It still needed a little bit of width here, so it is still a shaped collar, the exact same. I've just shortened it a little bit so it's a bit neater, and I've hand stitched the entire thing down so it just forms this beautiful, almost like yoke type thing, and it doesn't flap around anywhere, and it actually holds the garment nice and secure, and it's all hidden. And I even did, we come back around to the center front, I actually didn't stitch it down in this tiny little section here at the very center front, where basically the collar is like this is actually visible because the collar comes down here. So there's no stitch lines on this little section through here. So it's very clever in how I did this, and it just makes the inside look amazing compared to, this one. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with the facing, but this one is really great. Let's have a look at the hem. So on my OK one here, I've simply turned it up and like a double turn and stitched. So there's no visible overlocking even. I turned it over twice and stitched it by machine, and it looks very neat and tidy, and it's totally fine. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with this. But on my very nice higher end finish over here, what I did is the same thing but hand stitched instead. And so the hand stitching gives it a really nice, soft, gentle feel because obviously your machine stitch, it's a bit more rigid and stiffer. And this really does suit the design. Again, with hidden seam finishes, it kind of echoes and suits the same thing all through this garment, and just upgrades it to that next level, I think, with that hand sewn finish on the hem, and just makes it that little bit extra special. And let's take it back to the outside again, and let's look at the collars. Now both have some contrast on them, and with the OK one over here, I did a contrast color, and it looks great, right? Like, it just matches the beautiful green and it looks okay. Well, I think it looks great even, and it's really nice and easy, and that's a very easy way to add some contrast. What I did on my upgrade one over here is add some hand done in like decorative stitching here. And so I did just, it's a very simple, it's just a running stitch with 6 strands of embroidery thread, so super thick. And I just stitched it along in their little design just to look like mimic top stitching, so to say, around to really highlight this collar shape. And I think it looks amazing, right? Really great. I'm really happy with how that turned out. It really does set it off. And without that extra like little finish to it, it was like, it was okay, but that really made it great. And I never want to take this off. I had to for this video, of course, because I had to show you, but other than that, I'm not taking it off ever. And the whole point of this is, of course, that as you progress in your sewing journey and as you get better and better and you learn garment construction and you learn different techniques and just certain sewing techniques that you like over others, you'll start to realize that you can soon decide for yourself what finishes and even what construction techniques you want to use for your garments, and go beyond what the pattern instructions tell you to do, because otherwise you'll just be making these okay garments forever. And I know that you're probably thinking, I know because I get asked all the time, what can I upgrade to make those really great garments? I know that's what you want, as I do as well. And I hope this opens your eyes and gives you a look side by side what some, okay finishes are versus what some really great ones are, and what you might be able to put into your next make, which please do tell me below. I'd love to hear it. What are you going to upgrade maybe? What finish are you going to upgrade on your next garment? Love to hear that down below. And well, make sure you check the description box because I've got a bunch of videos down there that I know that you'll enjoy too. So until next time, my sewing friends, happy sewing. Bye.